Fighting among Cloxic city-states either precedes their official establishment or so perfectly coincides as to preclude anything like the good old days. The humanitarian Chapinos bashed the neighboring saga-spinning Illards, who slaughtered the artsy Ons, who did despicable things to the thoughtful shepherds of Sylvka, who raided the storehouses of the industrious Yurdians, who free property-owning Kloksvolk elected the leaders who promised the most and could scrounge up the most muscle. More often than not, these mayors acted like kings, threw their weight around, started fights, got a lot of good people killed, smoothed it all over again with grain and treasure until they couldn't anymore. And then they got whacked, and it was back to the ballots. It was an awful business, and awful for business. Whether you were a potter trying to make lovely, useful vessels, or a weaver, or a smith, or a mage, or a warrior, whatever you were, the constant threat of death really put a damper on your dreams and ambition. Hard to put in your 10,000 hours and become a master if the need to pick up an axe and kill somebody with it kept punctuating your practice. Even the serious study of warfare is negatively impacted by knee-jerk deployments. So long as that was a frustration felt by individuals, the chaotic situation remained stable. Unstable. Stable in its instability, predictably chaotic. For the love, you get it. Point being, that the status quo went corsair once enough individuals got together for that perennially popular pair of group topics, grousing and aspiring. Grousing about the pointless wars and strong-arm tactics, aspiring to a level of perfection glimpsed, but out of grasp. The groups became gangs, the gangs went to the fringe, on the fringe they formed clusters. The clusters survived crackdowns and turned into cliques, coteries, assemblies, unions, and flocks. To make clear they had no intention to interfere with politics, that is, they lied, they swore off political parties. Showing results, beautiful, profitable, or functional, they were tolerated. They concentrated on the perfection of their craft. They became guilds. And the Chapino guilds reached out to the Illards, who hooked up with the Ons, who made peace with the Sylvka, who filled to bursting the Yurdian storehouses. At first, the guilds did nothing to reject political orders to go to war with their associates over the river and through the woods. They also did nothing to prosecute the war. Then, they flat-out refused to even pretend to be going to war. Then they made it crystal clear that there weren't going to be any more wars. Well, not anymore. Bloody wars. Trade wars, sure. Competitions among the guilds, of course. But the breaking of bones and bodies was rendered theoretical. The Warriors Guild practiced hypothetical assaults, turned the drawing of a weapon into an art form, turned ink paintings of battle plans into art. Beer brewing, art. And the politicians went on dreaming their big dreams, got themselves elected by the free Kloksfolk who bothered to vote, made grand pronouncements, were ignored. For 2 generations, the guilds held sway, calcifying, inculcating, shoring up bases. The spoils were not shared equally. A few without boats desperately treaded water or drowned when rising socio-political economic tides did them no good whatsoever, but the greater good was pretty damn good. And the boats really were a sight to see. Until the Brach started invading. Started winning.